Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. You know, as a physician, we take an oath. We say do no harm. And today in America, and here in Washington, D.C., we are debating physician-assisted suicide, where we're authorizing physicians to take someone's life, to assist in taking someone's life. To me, this undermines the very thing that healthcare is all about. And who's most affected in this situation? Our most vulnerable citizens, the disabled and the poor. As a doctor, I can tell you what's always been in my heart is this is about care and about comfort. And those are our priorities. Physician-assisted suicide does not provide comfort. It merely ends life. In Washington, D.C., a doctor can decide that you may be going to die within 6 months if you have a terminal disease. A terminal disease, if you are untreated. Many terminal diseases would be terminal if they are not treated. And with that, the doctor can write a prescription, and there's no tracking of that prescription once it's given. There's no witness of the patient taking this prescription. They can simply go home to die alone. In one state where there is physician-assisted suicide, they have had an increase in suicides outside of physician-assisted suicides. I think that what we are saying to too many people is that you are not needed. And again, this undermines what I think we are all about and what healthcare should be all about. I think of the movie It's a Wonderful Life, which so many people watch every Christmas time. Mr. Potter says to George Bailey, "George, you're worth more dead than alive." Is that really who we want to be? As a resident in Chicago in the 1980s, one of our responsibilities was to do physical exams on everyone admitted to the hospital, regardless of what they were admitted for. And I can remember a doctor coming up to me and saying, "We just admitted our first AIDS patient, but you don't have to go see him." And this is a time when people didn't know what was going on, what was causing this, how it was being spread. And I thought, that's wrong. And I went in anyway to examine this patient. And I had to go in like it was a lunar landing because there was so much uncertainty about what was causing death to so many people. This patient was very sick, and I learned so much from this one patient because there were so many things wrong. But it didn't compare to what I learned when I finished that exam. And he looked at me and he said, "You just examined me more than anyone." I have never forgotten throughout my entire medical career the value of human life and what it must feel like to be discarded. He died the next day. I still know his name. And he taught me a valuable lesson on his very last day of life. Healthcare is about cures, it's about caring, it's about compassion, and society should be about the same thing. And the ideal that every person has value until their very last breath. I'm pleased to say that the President's budget addresses this issue, and we will too here in the House, because you and your loved ones matter. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.